Venezuelan leader Hugo Chavez was notorious for calling American political leaders various names, including the devil and a donkey and Mr. Danger. They say that misery loves company, so Hugo Chavez reached out to Iranian President Ahmadinejad and had him join him in his little Hate America party. According to the International Herald Tribune on March 13, 2013, in 2005, Chavez aligned himself with Ahmadinejad and expanded Iranian relations in Venezuela, Bolivia, Ecuador, Cuba, and Venezuela. Because Chavez helped the Ahmadinejad administration expand its ties and power in Latin American countries, and since Hugo Chavez has recently passed away, it begs us to ask the question, can Iran maintain its influence in Latin America in the absence of Hugo Chavez? The answer is yes, for the following 3 points of analysis. First, we will examine how Ahmadinejad has actually expanded his ties with powerful leaders in Latin America. Second, we will examine how Maduro will carry on the Chavez legacy, before finally examining how more countries in Latin America are becoming anti-imperialistic and hating on the United States. So first, we must examine how Ahmadinejad has actually created closer ties even though Chavez is no longer present. According to the Washington Post on March 20th, 2013, Ecuadorian President Rafael Correa recently hailed Ahmadinejad on the bilateral ties that he has created. What we have seen occur even in the absence of Chavez is that Iran is expanding its relations and creating multiple trade agreements across Latin America. The Washington Post reports on March 25, 2013 that recently Argentina signed a $1 billion trading deal with Iran. Moreover, Nicaragua signed a $500 million energy bill with Iran, and this was all after Chavez's passing. We can see that while Hugo Chavez established those ties and helped unite multiple countries through the ALBA alliance, tying both Iran and Latin American countries together, including Nicaragua, Cuba, Ecuador, Paraguay, Bolivia, Honduras, and Venezuela, we can see that Ahmadinejad is carrying over and continuing his ties and ensuring that he keeps close relations with very powerful leaders in Latin America, including Correa. But beyond just maintaining these really strong relations in Latin America and still expanding trade, even though in the absence of Chavez's death, we must take a close look at how Maduro is going to continue to carry out the Chavez legacy. According to the LA Times on March 26, 2013, Nicolas Maduro is most likely to win the Venezuelan presidential election that is coming up on April 14th. Due to Chavez's passing, what we saw occur is the LA Times reported on March 14, 2013, that Maduro claims that Chavez was poisoned by the United States. As such, we saw that the Venezuelans rallied around Maduro and want to support him and continue broken ties with the United States. Since Maduro wants to carry out the Chavez legacy and keep ties with the U.S. completely cut and continue down the Bolivarian regime, what we are seeing occur is that Iran will still have very close ties in Venezuela, and Venezuela will continue to be a powerhouse for what is seen as a revolution across Latin America. So because it is expected that Maduro will win the upcoming presidential election, clearly Iran is not suffering in the absence of Hugo Chavez. But lastly, we have to examine how more Latin American countries are actually taking an anti-imperialist standpoint and are moving further from the United States and hating on America. As reported by the Seattle Times on March 27, 2013, recently, Brazilian President Dilma Rousseff blames the United States for exploiting multiple resources across Latin America. As such, what we have seen occur is that Rousseff is uniting with Argentina and other large powerhouses in Latin America and moving towards countries that dislike us. According to the International Herald Tribune on March 20th, 2013, Rousseff has helped unite Cuba, again, with Iran. helping pump millions of petrodollars into their economy. Because Latin American countries are on this anti-democratic trend and are currently trying to cut ties with the U.S., and because the Obama administration has not made any substantial efforts to try and unite Latin America and increase the ties between the trade between the U.S. and Latin American powerhouses, we can see that Iran is having more influence in Latin America, as we saw occur with Russia in the 1990s. So because Iran has the essential resources that Latin America is looking for, such as nuclear energy, Iran will continue to have strong ties because it has stronger influence. And since Iran hates America, we can see that they will simply keep Chavez's legacy going and be united with other powerhouses across the Latin American continent. So today we have examined the question of, can Iran maintain its influence in Latin America in the absence of Chavez? We can clearly see that the answer is absolutely for the following 3 points of analysis. First, we have seen how Iran has struck many trade agreements across Latin America, even in the absence of Hugo Chavez. Second, we have examined how Maduro will continue the Chavez legacy and thus maintain those strong bonds with Iran. And lastly, we have seen how countries such as Brazil are taking an anti-imperialist standpoint, viewing the United States as just a country that exploits those who are in poverty. So, while Chavez was able to bring Iran into Latin America and provide them with a voice, we have seen that the Ahmadinejad administration has continued the legacy and has continued to remain its influence and keep it in countries such as Uruguay, Cuba, Brazil, Venezuela, and Ecuador.